I had to go to Rocky Mount the other day, and I was coming back from Rocky Mount, and I stopped by this country store. I love country stores. You know, you don't ever know what you're going to find in a country store. And sure enough, there was this guys in there. They were sitting around smoking and probably telling lies. And one said, "Oh, boy, look, there's Joe." Guy goes, "I don't think Joe's right." Guy goes, "I know Joe's not right." Well, he came in and he said, "Hey, boys, how y'all doing?" They said, "Joe, what's the news, man? What's the news?" He said, "You hadn't heard?" I said, "No, Joe, what's happening?" He said, "Boys, I'm getting married." He said, "What, Joe? Joe, who in the world would marry you?" He said, "You know her," said her name's Shelley Smith. Said she's from here in Pine Tops, Shelley Smith. She's a Pine Tops girl. Boy, everything got just dead quiet. And this man goes, "Joe, look, you don't want to marry that woman. That woman has shacked with every man in Pine Tops." He stood there. He said, "Well, Pine Tops ain't that big." See, so there's a man with a real good attitude. We want you to keep a good attitude and support. Well, shake, 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 shake your booty, shake your booty. Boy, I tell you, they didn't cuss during rehearsal. Not a bit. I heard some things tonight for the first time, just like you guys. That's a fact. I'm going to jump right into my stuff because we're running a little late. Anybody knows my mom and dad, I tell you, I've got a great mom and dad. I couldn't have a better mom and dad. Isn't they? They're wonderful people. They love each other. But you also know that they've had some little hiccups. They ain't always got along. And they tickle me even to this day by what they tell each other. You know, my dad, he turned 65, so he goes down to the Social Security place. He comes home and he says, "You know what I did? I left my ID home." He said, "But the woman told me that if I take my shirt off and show her my chest hairs, that she could determine whether I qualified for Social Security." And my mom said, "Well, did you take your shirt off?" He said, "I sure you qualified?" Pop said, "She sure did." Mom said, "Well, you should have pulled your pants down. You could have got some disability too." I've lived it. I went out there one day, my mom was hanging out clothes. You know, people don't hang out clothes no more. They just don't. And I got looking at them clothes and I said, "Is that underwear?" I said, "Mom, is that underwear?" She goes, "Yeah, honey, they're underwear." I've never mind a little bikini looking strapped little underwear, stripes, polka dots, great big colors. I said, "Mom, is that your underwear?" She said, "No, honey, that's not my underwear. That's your daddy's underwear." She said, "If you think they look stupid on that clothesline, you ought to see them on him." She's a wonderful Christian lady. Anything she's got, anybody can have. After I got married, I went out to the house and I was looking for this nice suit I had bought at JCPenney's. Any of you ever bought a suit from JCPenney's that had a reversible vest and two pants to match? Man, I was proud of that suit. I worked hard for that suit. And I asked her, I said, "Mom, where's that suit?" She was sitting on the edge of the bed, you know, folding up her hands and stuff. I said, "Mom, where's that?" And I described the suit. She said, "Oh, honey, I let Joe borrow that suit." Joe's a friend of hers. Has got some boys my size, you know, my age. I said, "Well, that's great, Mom. I don't mind, but I would like to get that suit back." She said, "Honey, I don't think you want that suit back." I said, "Well, why is that?" She said, "Honey, they buried Joe's daddy in that suit." They buried the man in my suit. My initials was on the lapel. I'm like, you know, how do you get that? I tell you, my parents have always worked hard. My dad used to work down at the dump down here. Some of you know that. He was always bringing stuff home. I went to see him one afternoon. I walked in that living room, and there was the biggest flat screen TV. I thought I was at the Pit Theater. I said, "Pop, where in the world did you get that from?" He was laid back in that chair. He said, "From the dump." I said, "You got it from the dump?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Man, that's nice." I got looking at it a little bit closer. I said, "Well, can you adjust the color on it?" He said, "No." I said, well, doesn't Alan Hoffman look blue to you? He said, no, not when you get used to him. He called me one day. He said, boy, I bought a donkey out of the bargain trader. I want you to go pick him up for me. I said, why did you buy a donkey? He said, oh, you know, his pony needed a friend. So to make a story short, I called a friend of mine and we went and found this donkey way out somewhere in Pitt County I'd never been. And I got to the woman's house and I said, I was looking out there for the donkey. I said, where's the donkey? She pointed to this thing. Oh my gosh. It was huge. I got him loaded up and we were riding back. The person that was helping me, my daddy called me and goes, did you pick up Spanky? I said, yeah, I picked him up. He said, he's little, ain't he? I said, heck no, he's not little. He looks like Seattle Slew with a great big head and a straight tail. He said, don't you make fun of that donkey. That's a smart donkey. That donkey's been in a Christmas play. I got him home. Here comes my mom out the back door in her little house coat, you know, with her flip-flops on. We backed that donkey out of that trailer. And a friend of hers came out of the back door. She said, Gloria, what you got, a mule? She said, no, I got a jackass. The woman said, so you got two of them living over there now. Oh, boy. I'm kind of responsible, I guess. You know, every 8-year-old wants to make his dad proud. You know what I'm saying? My dad bought a set of golf clubs, and we've never been a golfing family. I mean, even back then. But he bought a set of golf clubs, and we lived beside this dirt road, and I went out there early one Sunday morning. I mean, it was foggy. It was only 8 o'clock, and I built this mound of dirt, and I put that golf ball on top of it. I didn't know you were supposed to use a tee. I hit that golf ball, man. It went out of sight. It went straight and out of sight. Boy, I was 8 years old. I was excited. I ran inside. He's in there asleep beside my mom. I said, get up, get up, get up. I want to show you how I can hit this well. Go on, boy. Go on, let me sleep. You know, we've all been there. Let me sleep. I pulled him up out of that bed. Finally got him up out of that bed. He went out there barefooted with his house coat on. And I was standing over that golf ball, boy. And all I could hear him say was, swing hard, boy, swing hard. One of two things happened. I either swung way too hard or he was standing just a little bit too close. I swung that club around. I heard something go, doop. I turned around and there was my daddy. Down to his knees, blood coming out of his forehead. I said, Daddy, are you all right? He said, boy, go get your mama. Go get your mama. I ran inside. I got her. She said, you have killed your daddy. You have killed your daddy. She put him in the back of that Mercury, and we go to the old hospital, boy, and he comes out of that room about an hour and a half, about an hour later. They've shaved half of his head. He's got about 6 stitches in there. That nurse goes up to him, and I can remember it just like yesterday. She said, it won't even, 8:30 in the morning on a Sunday morning. Mr. Lassiter, are you sure this is how this happened? He said, that woman over there is still breathing, ain't she? We go back home, and we pull up that dirt road, up that little hill, and there on that mound is that little round golf ball. He loves to buy stuff that won't run. I'm kind of that way too the older I get. I like buying stuff and trying to kind of fix it up. But, you know, he's always been into cars and stuff like that. And all of our neighbors are just thankful that he's never been into airplanes. You know. But he bought a boat. And he decided he's going to fix this boat up. And I'm not going to bore you with the details, but man, he fixed it up. And I mean, it was an old boat. I mean, it had a great big steering wheel on it. It was fiberglass, probably about 16 foot long. I thought it'd be like anything else. He'll start fixing up that boat. He's going to get tired of that thing. He's not going to do anything with it. Well, boy, that didn't happen. I pulled up to see him one day. He was coming down the lane, pulling that boat with his El Camino. Tires slick. Transmission bad. I said, where are you going? He goes, oh, boy, I'm going to go put this boat in. I said, where are you going to put it in? I said, I'm going to put it in at Port Terminal. I'm going to see how it'll run. I said, Pop, please don't do that. We don't drive a boat. We don't know anything about a boat. We know nothing about a boat. I said, you don't have the boat registered. He goes, oh, boy, I don't need that boat registered. I said, I ain't going far. I said, well, what about those buoys if we come across some buoys? He goes, oh, you just don't run into them. So here we go. I couldn't let him go there by himself, so here we go. I drive to go to Port Terminal. We pull up there, and, you know, they got those glass glitter boats and those brand new Chevy and Ford trucks. I found that day I did have a little bit of status. I was waving, hey, how you doing? We got that boat in the water, and he got the motor started, and we go down the river towards the town's commons, and he looked over at me. He said, well, I'm telling you, I'm enjoying this. And honestly, I was too. For about 3 minutes. That boat cut off. No paddle. We're going head to head on down the river. And finally, he got it started back up, and we pulled it back to that port. And I backed that El Camino up. He loaded up the boat, that little yellow rope. I put that El Camino in drive, and it went straight down in the river. People waiting. I'm like, hey, I'm going to take it. I said, pull the plug. He said, what are you talking about? I said, the boat's got water. It took in water. Pull the plug. I knew enough about a boat for that. So he pulled the plug. We drove it straight back to the house. 2 weeks later, I go out there to see him. There's this great big black spot in the yard. I said, Pop, what's going on? What? I said, what was here? What was right here? He goes, oh, it's that boat. The boat? He goes, yeah, that woman in there is getting on my nerves. Talking to me about cleaning all this stuff up around here. He said, so I set it on fire. I said, you set a fiberglass boat on fire? Sure did. You couldn't even see them houses over there. That man across the street's a volunteer fireman. You know, he came over here. He was going to help me put it out. Said, I told him, I don't want you to help me put it out. I set it on fire. Told me, he said, you know, you can't set a fire. You can't spark up something like this. You're going to get a $200 ticket. He said, I looked at that man. I said, look, that path that brought you here can take you right back across the street. He said, it's my boat. It's my land. And it's my heir over the land. I said, well, Pop, have you learned anything at all from this at all? You know, you get a $200 ticket. He said, yeah, boy, if you're going to burn something like that, I think you need to do it at night. He called me one day. He said, boy, I'm about to die. Can you come out here? Boy, that scared me. I got in my car. I just left my business, and I went flying out there. Walked in the back door. I opened the door, and I heard, oh, oh. And I looked, there was my mom sitting there at the table. I said, what are you doing? What are you doing? She goes, eating breakfast. You want some? I've been that sick before. He ain't never helped me.